And we are live.
Hi, and welcome to episode 45 of TLC Tech Learn Coffee. I am your host, along with Nancy Minicozzi. My name is Lisa Nowakowski. I'm a fifth grade teacher in South Monterey County here in California.
And I'm Nancy, an instructional tech coach in Northwest LA County. Just a reminder that we have a 15-minute format because ain't nobody got time for more than that.
No, they don't. And most of us probably already know that decaf coffee actually does have a tad bit of caffeine in it. However, if you drink 5 to 10 cups of that decaffeinated coffee, you really could be getting as much caffeine as you would from 1 to 2 cups of coffee. So that was just found in one study, and we'll give you that information later. However, we're going to go right on into tonight's guests, who are Chris McGee and Glenn Barnes, and they will be talking to us about deprivatizing personal learning. How cool is that? So, Chris and Glenn, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, things like that?
All right, Glenn, go first, buddy.
I'm Glenn Barnes, K-12 Social Studies Curriculum Specialist for the St. Louis Public Schools. This is year number 19 in this district. I also work alongside Chris with Connected Learning. I was co-leader of the Ed Camp last year and several other events this year.
And I'm Chris McGee. I'm an assistant principal for the Rockwood School District at Rockwood South Middle School, where we get to serve 973 11 to 14-year-olds. Woohoo! In addition to that, we also started a nonprofit organization called Connected Learning. What I feel like is about forever ago, but it's really only about 4 years ago. And we've been cranking out professional learning over the last couple of years. It's been exciting.
That really is exciting. So when we think of like personalized learning, many of us think like college extension courses. Maybe I'm older and that's why I think that way. District mandated PD, the collaboration, or even paid conferences. I mean, and all of those are really, really great to learn, but you're disrupting that. So how are you disrupting that norm and challenging on personalized PD?
Well, we do it a couple of ways. One of the things that we really wanted to do is when I was a classroom teacher, every professional learning was selected by somebody else, like either my administrator is giving it out, or I'm having to sit through a conference that I'm, having to go to. There was really nothing that was sort of owned and designed by me. So that was one piece of the puzzle. And the second piece of the puzzle is so expensive. Every one of those things, whether it's a college course or whether it's a conference, like somebody's always trying to make money. So, and every time there's a registration fee, there's a large chunk of that that's going to somebody, and that's not going back into a classroom and not going to serve a community. So what we try to do is we try to bring all those same experiences. And yeah, we're partnering with universities. So all of our events have university credit tied to them. But how can we do them for $5? How can we do them for $20? How can we do them for $0 and still provide that same experience as going to a conference where you spend, I don't know, $600-700 plus a hotel, plus this and that and food and all that stuff? We want to get rid of all that and try and make it as exciting for people, but also do it in a way that's affordable for anyone in any school district. And this can be done anywhere. It doesn't have to be special to us in St. Louis. We hope we see organizations like us pop up all over the United States and around the world.
Excellent. And I love that point about all of the money and somebody's making the money, and that's money that's not going into the classrooms to the kids. That's so important. So how did you get started down this path of providing professional learning and thinking of how to make it for free or for $5?
Yeah, so a friend of mine, Bob Dillon, attended Ed Camp Kansas City. And we loved the event. It was a fantastic event. And on our drive back to St. Louis, we said, we can do this. So we hosted our first Ed Camp, and I don't even remember the year. I think it was 2011. Had 153 people attend. It was an amazing experience, and we got bit by the bug and said that, well, if we can do this, what else could we do? And we started to look into creating an organization, decided to be a nonprofit instead of a for-profit to really hone in that we really aren't in this for the money. Like Glenn doesn't get paid. I don't get paid. Like none of us are making money. We're taking time away from our families in order to invest in learning to make us better educators and put those resources back into our schools. And I tell you, none of us are really even business people. Like, I have read more about what it means to be a nonprofit, and what it means to be a CEO, and what does it mean to herd cats, which is what I equate having 20 volunteers. We have a meeting coming up this Thursday, and when you get all 20 of us in a room, it's like, no, guys, hey, we need to plan this thing. But it's so cool getting that many passionate people in a room that you really don't want to steal away from that lightning or that thunder that happens there.
Wow, that is amazing. So Glenn, how did you kind of jump in and get involved in this as well?
You know, for me, I think it was, I heard about the EdCamp STL, and 1 year decided to go, just give it a shot and see what it was all about. I'd started following local educators on Twitter and had networked via social media in that way, but to actually go to an EdCamp and experience learning done in a way for teachers that I was never used to within my own district, as Chris had said, you know, it's pretty much canned, sit and get, but to actually explore things that were of interest to me was such a career-altering experience that really opened my eyes to the possibilities of what education can and should be. And so from there, the bug had bit me, and I contacted Chris and a couple others associated with the organization, and I would love to jump on board, let me know how I can help out in any way, whether it's the next EdCamp or any other events. And just from there, it really a desire and a passion in me to take what I've learned at the events and take it back into my own classroom or into now classrooms across the St. Louis Public Schools where I work. Really how it started for me, it just lit a fire within me to really change the way in which learning is done in our schools.
I love that. It's so powerful to hear how one experience can change and just ignite that passion in us to help spread that to other teachers and educators as well.
Yeah, so I mean, Chris and I joke a lot. You know, 1 year I go as an attendee, and then like 2 years later I'm co-leading it. So, I mean, it can happen to anybody, honestly.
And if you zoom in really, really close, like right here, you'll see sucker written across his head, because I totally roped him in as soon as I was like, Glenn, you are passionate. You're a great leader. You're somebody who asks probably the best questions out of anybody that I know. So how do I get you in front of more people? And that was an opportunity to have him lead an event or two. And it's been awesome.
What a great way. Yeah, I can kind of see that etched right there across his forehead. I think all of us are kind of in that though too, when we get passionate. So what are some events that you've already done? Because you've been doing this for a while now, you said, with connected learning. So what are some of your past events? Is it just EdCamps? Are there other things? And, you know, what are some upcoming events that you have planned?
So I'll start by saying the majority of these are things that we've seen out in the world and said, hey, we need to do that here. But we're not waiting to get approval from some administrator. We're not waiting for some regional professional development consortium to, you know, get their act together to do something and then charge us $800 for it. Like, we're just going to strap on the boots and we're going to do it. And if it looks cool and it sounds cool, in fact, somebody posted today a really interesting idea about an event on our Slack channel. And I'm like, I just need to look at it, and I want to know more about how do we get more educators in the room? Because no matter the format of the event, the most amazing things happen in between the things that you have scheduled. So if we can just get people there, the awesome will happen. And then we try to just up level it by making some really cool events. So they're not all EdCamps. In fact, I'm going to throw Glenn up here and say, can you talk a little bit about the design challenge you did?
Yeah, I work in an inner city urban environment, and one of the things that we did was a urban education design challenge. We actually partnered with the St. Louis, Missouri Historical Society and the History Museum here in St. Louis One of their current displays is talking about Missouri and specifically St. Louis being #1 in civil rights for over 200 years. What we did is we looked at the issues of urban education, and specifically in St. Louis, with a very long and detailed history on how we come together as community members, educators, community activists on making changes and improving urban education in St. Louis, but also in other areas around our region. And so we invited folks in to ideate some amazing things that they had on their minds to provide possible solutions for what's happening in St. Louis and elsewhere. And there were some really cool ideas, and our hope is that the folks who participated will take those ideas back to their schools or place of employment and follow through on that. And who knows where it will lead, but it definitely lit a spark in some people to take more action, and just provided that process of figuring out where those solutions are, working on solutions as well.
Nice. And
That's so great.
I'll add a couple other ones. Like one of my personal favorites is an event called Kickstarted, where everybody pays $10 to attend. And then people will choose to pitch an idea or a concept for the classroom. And at the end of the night, the $10 goes into a pot, and they vote, and they give the teacher with the most exciting idea all the money that went from the registration. So that's kind of a fun way to fund something that's in the classroom that you want to do, maybe a tool or a resource you didn't have, but it really inspires the room and how you pitch it to the room. So that's kind of a fun one we call Kickstarted. We have reverse pitch. We want to put 3 schools bring a problem from their school, and they pitch it to a room of business leaders and entrepreneurs, and they really own the problem and allow the room to provide different ideas and solutions, which is kind of a fun way to, be vulnerable in that space and also come up with something really creative. We do the traditional conferences and unconferences, and even do things like documentary screenings. We've had a couple of those with Most Likely to Succeed and Beyond Measure, which have been really fun.
And one of the ones, one of the events that we have done in the past that we're doing a second round of is improv for educators. So teachers learn improv skills to carry into the classroom, and just being able to think on your toes as a teacher as you confront different things, and really improving the skills of teachers in somewhat non-traditional ways is a lot of fun as well.
You guys have some fantastic ideas. Do you have any events planned coming up in the future?
So here coming up in just a couple weeks is at Camp St. Louis here on February 10th. We have over 500 people registered, so it should be a great day. Thanks to the Monsanto Fund, we were able to pay for breakfast and lunch for everybody. So it's going to be a great full day of learning. And then we've got, as Glenn shared, the improv event, and also trying to learn more from business leaders and bring some of those ideas into education. So I reached out to our local IKEA, and they're going to get a regional manager to share a little bit about the culture of IKEA and how those tenets and ideas might also spill into our schools and make our schools an even more positive place for people to work and to learn. Hey, time's up.
Time is up. Time is up. Closing thoughts?
You're awesome. I love the 15 minutes. Podcasts get too long, and this is perfect.
Couldn't agree more.
And we're so excited. I'm so excited that we got to hear all of your ideas. I really liked that. What is it? The Kickstarted. I liked that idea. That was a really cool idea.
Do it in your area.
And so, yes, Ed Camp is coming up at Camp St. Louis. Is that right for you guys?
That's right.
All right, so EdCamp St. Louis is coming up for you guys. That's awesome. So we would like to thank all of our listeners for listening. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a comment to let us know. Tonight's comment question is, have you ever been to an EdCamp or another unconference? And how was that experience for you? If you would like to learn more about EdCamp St. Louis or any of the ideas that they talked about for connected learning, we will have that in our show notes as well as below here in the description. So please join us on Monday, February 5th, 2018, when our guest will be Susan Stewart, and she talks to us about Little Global Citizens. She works with K2, and she is part of K2 Can 2.
Please don't forget to subscribe to hear more about easy ways for you to innovate in your classroom and in your professional learning. Remember, we're always looking for guests to share the great things they're doing in their classrooms. So if you know someone who fits the bill, or maybe it's you and you'd like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at tlc.ninja and complete the contact form to let us know. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.